Welcome to the Explainer. If you've ever set up a crypto wallet, you've definitely been told to write down those 12 or 24 words, your seed phrase. But have you ever stopped to wonder how that one phrase can manage all your different coins, all your different accounts? Well, today we're pulling back the curtain on the hidden blueprint that makes it all possible, BIP44. To really get why BIP44 is such a game changer, let's just start with a quick thought experiment. Imagine your digital money wasn't in a nice, neat wallet. Instead, picture it scattered across this endless, chaotic maze with absolutely no map. How would you ever find anything? And maybe more importantly, how could you possibly back it all up? That's pretty much the exact problem that hierarchical deterministic, or HD, wallets were built to solve. The hierarchical part just means they create this tree-like structure of keys. And deterministic, that means you can perfectly recreate that entire massive tree from just one single seed. It's an incredibly powerful idea, but without a plan, it's also a recipe for total chaos. And the scale we're talking about here is, well, it's pretty hard to wrap your head around. From just a single master key, an HD wallet can generate over 4 times billion child keys. And then each of those can generate another 4 billion, and so on, creating a virtually infinite family tree of keys. Now, all that flexibility is amazing, but it created a huge, huge problem. Without some kind of standard structure, a wallet from one company would have no idea how to read the data from another. Trying to move your funds or restore a backup would have been an absolute nightmare of incompatibility. So how do you bring order to all this infinite chaos? Well, the first big clue, the first piece of the puzzle, came in a proposal called BIP43, and it introduced a really simple but powerful organizing principle. The idea behind BIP43 was just brilliant in its simplicity. It basically said, hey, let's use the very first branch of that infinite tree to define the purpose for everything that comes after it. Think of it like putting a big label on a filing cabinet that tells you what kind of files you're going to find inside. So building on that amazing foundation, a new proposal came along, BIP44, and it took that simple rule and just expanded it into the complete blueprint that pretty much every modern crypto wallet uses today. What BIP44 did was establish that any key path starting with M/44 would follow a very specific multi-account structure. That little apostrophe, by the way, is super important. It signals a special type of secure key generation we'll talk about in a second. But this simple prefix created a universal language that all compatible wallets could finally understand. So what does this blueprint actually look like in practice? The BIP44 standard is made up of 5 predefined levels, and each one has a very specific job to do. Honestly, the best way to think about this path is like a postal address for your funds. Each level gets more and more specific. It takes you from the general purpose, to the type of coin you're using, down to your specific account, and then finally to the individual address itself. Now, those first 3 levels, the purpose, coin type, and account, are what's known as hardened. It's a key security feature. The purpose is always 44, which locks it into this standard. The coin type tells the wallet if we're talking about Bitcoin or Ethereum or something else, and the account level lets you organize your money, say separating your savings from your trading funds. The next levels use a different method called normal derivation, and this is where a really clever trick comes into play. It lets you create something called a watch-only wallet. This means you can safely keep an eye on your balances on your phone, for example, without ever exposing the private keys you need to actually spend the money. It's kind of like having a bank statement without giving anyone your debit card. And this table here really shows how it all comes together in the real world. You can see how these paths create a precise, unique address for anything you need. For example, a specific public key in a Bitcoin account, or a change address for a totally different Bitcoin account, or even a private key for a Litecoin account. Every single address has its own logical place in the blueprint. Okay, so I know this might all seem like a really technical detail, but its impact on everyday usability and security is just massive. This standard is literally what makes modern crypto wallets work the way we expect them to. Because of this standard, you can take your one recovery phrase and restore your entire portfolio on almost any modern wallet out there. It's what allows you to manage Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all your other assets under one single backup. It lets you keep your funds organized, and it even helps your privacy by using new addresses for every transaction. And that brings us to the most crucial point. We often focus on dramatic hacks and sophisticated theft, right? But standards like BIP44 are designed to fight what is, perhaps, the single biggest cause of lost crypto: simple, boring data loss. It makes your wallet predictable, and because it's predictable, it's recoverable. So that leaves us with a final thought. We are constantly told to protect our seed phrase, to hide it, to guard it with our lives. But true security isn't just about hiding those words. It's about understanding the logical blueprint that gives those words their power, the power to reliably rebuild your entire financial world right from scratch.